Hi guys, I'm back. This is chapter 2 of Blitz. If there's noise in the background, I apologize. Some of my neighbors are working, but we'll just get started. Chapter 2, Call to the Society. When I got back to the mansion, Grandfather took me out back to train and master my powers. He set up a couple dummies and obstacles. The training was simple. I had to cross a 14-yard-acre field, dodging arrows fired from 15 automatic crossbows set up along the fence line. There were a couple of dummies lying down next to the crossbows, and they represented hostages. I simply had to rescue them. Along the way, he also set up an obstacle course. My grandfather held up a small stopwatch in order to time me. My goal was to get under a minute. We practiced the whole day. It was getting late, and my best time was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I took a deep breath. This was our last attempt. I can do this, I whispered to myself. My grandfather hit the stopwatch, and I took off. I ran between 15 cones, the 12 obstacles, across the 3 balance beams, up and over a 15-foot wall. I grabbed the sandbags and pulled them 15 feet. I leapt over the bar that was 5 feet off the ground, and finally through footwork tires. I destroyed all the crossbows, grabbed the dummies, and ran as fast as I could towards the mansion patio, where Grandfather was waiting. I was dodging the arrows the whole time. I was completely out of breath. What's my time, Coach?" I asked while panting. He smiled at me with a huge grin. "My boy, you did it. Your time now was 45 seconds. I looked at him in disbelief. I then hugged him back. To celebrate my time, we went to my favorite restaurant, Urban Brewing Grill. It was a small and older restaurant, but it was nice. On the back counter of the restaurant, there was an older-style radio. When I was finished eating, the radio went off and was recording a police chase happening downtown. This was my chance. I looked at my uncle, and he nodded his head. Off I went, speeding in a purple blur. When I arrived at the scene, I was running even with the police cars, at least at first, to assess the situation. The robbers had guns and were shooting at the police. Some bullets hit a lamp post, causing it to fall on an empty car, and then also shot up a local gas station. I sped away up to the vehicle and grabbed their guns and put them in the trunk of the police cars. I then took the robbers out of the car, causing it to crash into a fire hydrant. The water shot up like a jet. I tied the robbers up and left them for the police. Oof, that was going to be a hassle to clean up. I then took off, running back to the mansion, where I met Grandpa. When I entered the mansion, he did not look happy. "You were reckless, Ryder," he said. He rubbed his forehead and sighed. "But I saved lives today. Those cops could have gotten hurt." I was getting frustrated. He then looked at me and was sighing. "I know, Ryder, but in order to save lives, a hero must also avoid as much public damage as possible. Please follow me." He led me to his office in the west wing of the mansion. There he opened his computer. He then searched up for warehouses for sale. "While we wait for the portal in your mansion to be finished, Blitz needs a base of operations." He then smiled at me. So we spent the whole night shopping for a warehouse. We eventually settled upon a decently huge one. The total price was $1.9 billion. I bought it using Voltrek's international funds. The next morning, I went downstairs after hearing a bunch of loud noises. I grabbed my backpack and got dressed in one of my tuxedos. What the heck was going on? My grandfather was standing on the front porch. "Ah, Ryder, you're awake. I have decided I will be moving further out of town." I was puzzled. "Wait, why?" There were moving trucks everywhere. He smiled and closed his eyes. "It's time for a change. I will still help you and guide you and train you. It's just that I need a break from this house." I smiled and started helping him load the truck. After about an hour, we decided to take a break and go to get lunch. We went to Joe's Burgers and Fries. It was located right next to an art museum. After about 35 minutes of eating lunch, the museum alarm went off. This was my chance to redeem myself for the property damage. I looked at my grandpa with a pleading face. He smirked and said with a huge chuckle, "Fine, but hurry up. I'm not paying for lunch." I was already out the door. When I got to the museum, there was destruction and trash. There was fire all over the place. There was also a painted flamethrower on the ground. Most of the paintings were missing as well. I went to the main exhibit where I saw him, the villain. It was a famously known crook called Canvar. His powers included the ability to take anything from a painting and make it real, like a flamethrower, for example. Probably painted it himself based on the horrible color scheme. "Put the brush down." He just looked at me with a blank face and then burst out laughing. "Yeah, I know, I need to work on them. My catchphrases aren't the best, but playtime's over." I ran up and knocked him out with a single punch. I ran and grabbed a bucket of water and put out the fire before tying him up. I then used super speed to put the paintings back on the wall and clean up the art show. A SWAT team busted through the main door. They were led by a man in a tux. I threw the tied-up criminal at their feet. Behind the man was none other than Gatespire himself, one of the greatest heroes and the leader of the Sentinel Society. His powers fully included him to opening portals, flight, super strength, and super durability. "Hello, kid. My name is Agent Dan Danger. I work for the SSHS, also known as the Secret Superhero Society. This is Gatespire. He is the leader of the Sentinel Society and one of the greatest superheroes known to mankind. He wants to offer you a job, kid. We could use a hero with a superpower set on the Sentinel Society like yours." I was completely shocked. "I'm sorry, but I want to start off working alone. Thank you so much. It's an honor." He looked disappointed. "Well, kid, if you change your mind, call us." They gave me a small card before leaving. I ran back to Joe's Burgers and Fries to pay. I then brought Grandpa to his new home before running home and going to bed. The next day, I got up and decided to make something for breakfast. I really couldn't decide on what to eat, so I just went for a bowl of cereal, a classic, but not for a rich life like mine. After cereal, I decided to head up the stairs. I was sitting in my chair and staring at the card that Gatespire gave me. I was pondering on the offer he gave me. I eventually decided to call the number on the back of the card. "Hello, thank you for calling the Sentinel Society. This is Jet, the high-flying hero." I was given an offer from Gatespire. "My name is, Blitz. I'm the new fast superhero." I heard a gasp over the phone. "The headquarters for the Sentinel Society is in Area 51. It's a highly classified United States air facility located in Nevada. We sent the coordinates to your phone. Meet us there." He then hung up. Holy crap, they're in Area 51. I can't wait to tell Grandpa. I grabbed breakfast and threw on my suit and ran out the door. I headed to see Grandpa. When I arrived, I saw that his car was gone. I walked up to the front door and knocked. 5 minutes went by. Weird. I then called him. "Hi, Ryder. How are you?" "Hi, Grandpa. Where are you?" "I am with some old military friends. I'm sorry, no training today." He then hung up. I guess I'm heading to Area 51 alone. And so I took off towards downtown Dorian Crest. There was water leaking out of the front doors of a bank. What the hell? I walked over to it and saw a man with hoses on his arms. He was spraying the bank with water, associates with water, and laughing with a high-pitched voice. "Hey, stop right there," he turned to look at me. "Look, everyone, well, it's the new superhero. What are you gonna do, rookie?" He smirked, laughing at me. "First of all, what's your name?" I asked, while walking towards him slowly. "I am Hydronite, the most evil soldier of darkness, spraying water and conquering the universe." I just smiled. "Sure, buddy, you're also tied up. I sped and tied you up with using my super speed while you were monologuing." He looked down and saw that he was tied in a rope. "What? How on earth did you do that?" I just patted him on the head. "Super speed, buddy, super speed." The bank workers started clapping and laughing. The cops then showed up and I fixed up everything with my speed. "Gotta go." I then ran out the door. About 1 hour later, I ran to Nevada. I ran to the closed gates of Area 51 where Gates' spire was floating above the gate, waiting for me. He flew down and landed in front of me. "I'm glad you took the offer, kid." The gate then opened. "Please follow me inside." So we went past the gate. Some of the guards kept whispering something that I couldn't hear as they stared at me. We got to one of the main facility buildings where the guard was waiting at the door. When we reached him, he pulled out a small black key card and used it to open the door. We then walked down some stairs to an elevator. It was under like 4 feet under the ground. When we entered the elevator, we pressed a button that said floor 50 down. We then started to head downwards at high speeds. Finally, we hit the bottom of the floor 50. The elevator doors opened up, revealing a long hallway. We started down the hallway for quite a bit. We passed by a lot of rooms. The rooms were made of glass, so I could see in. One room had a lot of filing cabinets, gloves, masks, and chemicals on the table. Another room had a few scientists in it. There were a lot of scientists testing a whole bunch of gadgets and tech weapons. When we then ended up at a cross between the hallways, we turned the right corner and noticed that the hallway had a lot of cells with known villains and criminals in it. The cells bars were made of a blue light, almost like lasers. It looked as if they touched it, their hands would burn. The blue light emitted from a steam-type mist. We then took another left, leading into a double door that opened to the side. Fancy. After it opened, we entered a room filled with desks, computers, and chairs. It was a smaller room, and in front of the room was a massive supercomputer. The room was filled with agents. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder as Agent Danger walked up beside me. "Welcome, kid, to Area 51, also known as the headquarters for the Sentinel Society. Welcome to your new home." Okay, guys, that is Chapter 2. Let me know if you liked it. Chapter 3 coming soon. I'll give you a little hint on what the title is, but other than that, I can't spoil. It's called Chapter 3, Faster Than Fear. Good luck and enjoy.